This is a video I've been wanting to make for a while now, at least since the first one I did on you and MAASE.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I'm excited to see what you make.
Well, I just hope I understood all of this stuff going on behind the scenes. Okay, let's start with the band members. You probably know who this is. She got pretty popular that one time when she was marking drum sheets.
MAASE marking drum sheets.
You may also know that she plays the drums, that she's in a band, and that she's good friends with Chaz Dono. But what you might not know is that she's also a one-of-a-kind robot, and I mean that literally. Made by MAASE Association in 2002 to test several unique technologies, she is the only one of her kind that I am aware of, not including MAASE the salon robot, and after a dumb engineer accidentally set her administrative rights to herself, she just plain refused to give them back. She likes learning about fish, talking about mythology, and pretending to eat chips because, as I quote, when her CPU overheats, she needs to do something stupid to give it a chance to cool down. What a fucking badass. Charles Donovan was born from a synthetic womb inside the MAASE Association facility to the Marcuses, Palmer, and Mueller. At some point during his gestation, colloidal silver was used instead of iron by mistake, leaving Chaz with the most commonly recognized symptom of argyria, his blue skin. Due to his condition, his fathers decided it would likely be best to raise him at MA inside their artificial habitats that look like something straight out of Umbrella Corporation. And one day after getting punched in the face by MAASE, and yes, we'll get there, they became unlikely friends and began making what Chaz calls crappy 90s pop. Eventually the two would leave MA and meet Alfie and Wobble Jay, the giant yarn man, thing, and the gummy bear guy. Wobble Jay was born shortly before MAASE and Chaz met Alfie. Apparently he climbed out from under a mattress wanting mango sours. A month earlier Alfie had fucked a wiggly jiggly and discarded it under his
That's not what happened.
What do you mean? That's what it says on the... Okay, one sec. Yeah, hi Chaz. Did Alfie actually fuck a wiggly jiggly? Oh. So it turns out, no, that's not what happened, it's just a dumb joke. Okay, Wobble Jay is a perfectly normal homunculus that Alfie made just before they met. He likes to sleep in jars, and MAASE likes putting little plastic fishes in him to Alfie's dismay. Then, when the band needed a bassist, they all thought it would be funny if this tiny blue gummy bear dude also played an oversized bass, but it turns out he's not too bad at it. Hilarious. Alfie Burbank is that tall woolen scarf guy that looks straight out of a Saturday morning cartoon. He's apparently extraterrestrial, from the Delta Quadrant with far greater hearing than that of humans, giving him the ability to hear the hum of the earth, or some shit. This, along with his inhuman dexterity, allowed him to help Chaz and MAASE transform their music into the sound that they have today. Also Wobble Jay inherited this ability, so that is probably why he's so good at bass. Alfie is the vibalicious member of the group that is always willing to give Chaz and MAASE a cozy place to stay when they need it most. MAASE Association is founded by the Marcuses in the 60s, and then after a lot of searching, a facility is built in 1977 once Marcus Palmer and Marcus Mueller finds an adequate abandoned coal mine. This is where our story begins, Chaz's fathers and the founding of MA. Then back in 2002, MA completes the construction of the MAASE Association Android Service Edition. This was MAASE, who functioned as the secretary and test bed for their advancing technologies. During this time, Chaz would avoid her because he thought she was lame, at least until a fateful day in 2019. On Friday the 21st of May, MAASE had an appointment for some firmware updates, which required her to mingle with the employees so they could report any odd behavior. On that day she happened into room 4F, where Chaz was eating a bagel and keeping to himself. But he said,
Can't you see?
She punched him in the fucking face. To her, in one moment she is greeting him, and the next, suddenly his nose is bleeding, so she said,
"Oh my goodness. Your nose is bleeding. Would you like me to fetch you a tissue?"
Apparently they joke about it now, but she also told me that she spent that night rewatching the video, so. But after that they eventually became close friends and together, MAASE and Chaz started writing, in his words, crappy 90s pop, under the name, Plants Think, one of which was that amazing opening jingle at the start of the video. It wasn't until 2019 that Chaz and MAASE left MA, and surprisingly the company let Charles leave the facility with the only android of its kind, likely because his father stood up against the board on his behalf. They even paid him off with 2,000 quid as a sort of severance, which they used on a place to stay for a bit. But because the two could not afford rent they squatted at the landlord's place until they got kicked out and met Alfie. In February 2021, while illegally climbing the 3M tower in Gorsainen. After moping around the half-pipe Chaz noticed Alfie putting out a rug or something, and thought he was hallucinating, but MAASE verified that he was not losing his mind. So like any rational person would, they walked up and said hello. He invited them in, gave them somewhere temporary to stay, and sometime later, after mentioning that they write music, Alfie vibes hard and helps them transform their music into what we know and love today. It wasn't until July 2021 that they found an abandoned warehouse where they could stay for a while. This is where they produced their music for the band, and this is where Chaz started posting on Twitter, SoundCloud, and most importantly, TikTok.
MAASE marking drums.
And the rest is history. But, it turns out the story doesn't end there. Recently Chaz et al. Have announced that the band, Chaz Dono and Friends, has been disbanded due to their financial strain and the owner of the warehouse kicking them out. From what I hear they are staying at Alfie's for a bit. Did I get most of that right?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds right. Like, I haven't seen the video, so. Fucking hell!
Chaz, who are you talking to?
Hi, MAASE.
Artamis. Yeah, I'm talking to Artamis.
Why?
You sound
Like,
good.
she just wanted to ask, like, a few more questions.
We have to pack. We have to be.
I am packing. I am.
You sound busy, we can talk more another time, but thanks for chatting with me about all that stuff, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I guess. Thanks for making the video. I mean, we're quite flattered.
I swear God.
I have to go, sorry man.
Bye. Oh MAASE, I know you guys are super busy right now, but feel free to reach out if you want to shoot the shit. Well, that's all I have. I hope you liked it. If you did, then be sure to press that subscribe button. It's analogous to giving me a cookie, so please press the cookie button. Bye humans.